Alright, Mo, welcome to the vault. This will be a quick one. This is, I guess you would call this Nakshatra Yoni Study 3, Venus conjunct Chiron, right? So, salutations to Lord Ganesha, who has curved trunk and large luminous body, and whose splendor is similar to million suns. O Lord, please make my undertakings free of obstacles by extending your blessings in all my work, always. So, I'm kind of using my own experience and myself for this transit, right? Like I was feeling something, but it's no coincidence. Moon at the time I had these thoughts was in the star Chitra, because that's what it was. So I'm Purvashada and uh, the relationship, the woman I was with, feel me? I did notice it's like Chiron. So Venus conjunct Chiron, right? Venus is love, lust, relationships, and governs over enjoyments. And Chiron represents a wise healer, wounded healer. Centaur, I put son of Zeus, but it's really a son of Kronos, step half brother to Zeus. So it represents strong healing abilities, profound wisdom, uh, deep transformative experiences that lead to profound lessons. Right? You feel me? So Chiron, Centaur, son of Kronos, Saturn, brother of Zeus, Jupiter. You dig what I'm saying? He was a teacher. He taught many different little like demigods and heroes. He teach people that's trying to find themselves. You dig what I'm saying? In a way, that's what a good guru do. He gets poisoned by Hercules during like a battle that's going on between Hercules and the Centaur. Chiron gets an arrow with the Hydra, which would be a Slatia or any serpent star, but that's just like that real profound wisdom, making shit just So he gets struck by an arrow in his heart. Now he got, he a great healer, so he can heal himself, but he can never really fully close and really complete the process. Um, and because he immortal, it's like he still stay alive, but he still got to feel that pain as he travels and he continues living. So he kind of just like forego his immortality. Zeus puts him in the stars, right? So being the son of Saturn governed over the golden age of man and women, or just humans, right? Golden age on Earth. So therefore, it's kind of like it's pointing to that. Now the poison that he gets, Hercules, is kind of gonna be. I guess you would say it's like a new age, but Hercules come in, he poison him, and he like, look, man, I didn't win. It's almost being poisoned by the strife and the battles that come with the darker ages or the more, ages that's not as golden. Short and simple. The asteroid Chiron itself sits in between the orbit of Saturn and Uranus. Saturn represents grief, Uranus represents breakthroughs, like sudden breakthroughs and otherworldliness. You feel me? Uranus is like the sky god, but it's God of heaven, so it's like the areas above the material that you might not be able to reach. So it's like the alchemical process is what Chiron kind of represents. And the alchemical process begins with Saturn, lead, the element lead. Lead is a very heavy, dense element that, came up from digging into Earth's crust. You know what I'm saying? So lead is hard, but it's like with enough firmness and consistency, you can mold it. But the more that you begin to mold this lead, the more you get poison. It's a very toxic element. It gets in, it binds to different elements. It binds to other elements or properties in the body. and it kind of just poisons that thing. It creates toxicities. The only way is, I guess, the idea is saying like through Chiron, Saturn, and Uranus, you want to have a breakthrough. You want to move to higher levels and vibrate higher and stuff like that. But you're gonna have to kind of shed whatever's making you sick. You gotta let that go. You might just have to, yeah. You don't want to touch lead. So, all right. So, keyword for this transit is transformational love or wounded love, perhaps. But Venus conjoining, which is like a union with Chiron, is a union of love and raw expression of deep-seated pain and lessons, or just an alchemized love. So like I guess the energy has been like people kind of maybe either thinking about reuniting with past lovers, but it's probably somebody that may have put a certain wound on you and stuff like that, right? So but there is a lesson. There's a strong lesson that you can learn when you kind of give it to God. That's always, but there's a lesson that was learned through that, maybe, ideally. And then, so it's dual nature, pain and pleasure. Venus with Chiron in Aries shows that the pleasure principle is this idea that there's an instinctual, we're gonna go with Freud maybe. Just with a grain of salt, please. So it's an instinctual drive to seek immediate gratification and avoid pain. In essence, it is the inherent motivation that pushes us to satisfy biological and psychological needs right here, right now, whether that's hunger, thirst, or emotional fulfillment, without naturally considering the constraints or long-term consequences of reality. So Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. It's fast moving, initiates through action and energy. Venus represents pleasure and enjoyments. In Aries, this enjoyment, pleasure, or relationship is fleeting, very quick. It happens fast. Venus with Chiron shows that, it happened fast, and the pain, because Chiron is a son of Saturn, so the pain, Saturn represents pain and grief. The pain that's associated with this brings long-term lessons. So the idea that Islam say, that's who I got this pleasure principle from. Islam say, the pleasure that we go and seek out, when that pendulum swing, oftentimes the pain that comes from that is just as intense, but it lasts longer oftentimes. So the pleasure from, let's just talk about, Rahu is in Aquarius, is the addictions, those habits that we have and those patterns. The pleasure of going to smoke or drink. Yeah, it feel good in the moment. You feel so elated, but it really, when you think about it, was all smoke and mirrors, and it passed. Like it was maybe a night, a couple hours for a night, a couple hours here and there, a couple moments, honestly. But the pain, like a person that smoke or drink, it's like they might drink socially. So whenever they feeling lonely, it's, I'm gonna go drink. I'm gonna go get invited to drink or something like that. But then that drinking causes them to, make, because drugs is gonna cloud your judgment. We need clarity. It's about clarity. Drugs gonna add clarity is the only thing that'll get you out of the habitual nature of being a human. So you need clarity, but drugs and stuff like that, they only seek to dull our mind and our senses, you feel me, and heighten other certain passions. So you chase that, but then next thing you know, later on, you have a hangover that lasts way longer than the high of intoxication lasted. When you run out of, if you smoke, if you run out of weed or meth or whatever you do, them withdrawals, they hit you. Now you irritable. An hour feels like a week. You ain't had it for 4 hours and now you can't eat. You having trouble sleeping. You ain't had none all day and all of that jazz. So it's like the pain that accompanies the pleasure, because love and lust, they're inseparable. Lust got a noose that's just waiting for you to hang yourself with it. You know, how much do you think you love this thing or this person, right? So what I say, it's no coincidence. Moon and the star Chitra today, and this was kind of like the birth star of that relationship. You feel me? That one that was like, kind of left a deep wound, but also something that, like, ever since that you carry that lesson. It's not a wound. It's like, whoa, that's a lesson, right? So that was perfect shot in Chitra. Chitra sparks are bridal passion. Their martial personality is just the type you fall in lust with. They're stunning, provocative, and independent. You go down this route at an extreme cost to yourself. That's the Chiron at play. They inspire you to love, but the love may turn out to be just an illusion. You have not prepared for the fallout. Then from Chitra, Purvashad is creative, unconventional, sexy, and totally wrong for you. But the attraction flares, passion explodes. It's a planet Mars Venus fascination, which is uncontrollable, unreliable, and ultimately unsatisfied. You never tried to get to know each other, and neither of you knows how to handle the aftermath. And child, like, I ain't gonna cap. We met. I couldn't even tell you how long it was. As fast as it started was as quick as it ended. But it was definitely unbridled passion. Like, for however long we was together, like we was kind of living together. And in another state, that shit was crazy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, on the fallout, yeah, I didn't really know how to do it, cause truth be told, regardless of like the intensity of my stars and stuff, and the aggression in her stars, because it's Mars and Venus, but Venus only lords over fierce Nakshatras. So it's like it was always this. It wasn't necessarily competitive, but it was always this: somebody want to be in charge, want to be the dominant one. You feel me? Chitra likes to argue, and because it's like a tender, mild, soft star, but it's ruled by Mars, it's like they play around, but it's like, nah, like, it's real pushy. Per Rashada being a fierce star, I can't really fuck around like that. I'ma end up hurting feelings. It might feel playful with them, but per Rashada also is the monkey. I be playing too much. I be having to chill, and that's one of them things you learn. Like, oh, I play too much. But in the same vein, the way that you play, you like to get into arguments and debates. I don't really have the space for none of that. I ain't going back. It don't be much space for me in debate. So that was that. But then you learn in that, like, oh shit, that's actually what you like. It's not that it can't work, but it's like, the way that the two play, it's like, it's button pushing. But damn sure passionate and very, very creative. Like this, we had this thing. I started this thing where it was like, instead of just trying to say something, like I made a shared album and stuff like that. So I might take a picture of something and I just post that joint in there. You feel me? And throughout the day, we just kind of check that share album, see, oh, what you put in there? Oh, you put that joint in there from the other night. Oh, that's nice. And then you might just we was putting ideas. It was just like real. That shit was like, I don't know. It just turned into a little gallery and shit. And that's how, like, our first date. We had went to a museum, little gallery and shit. And that shit was just like, it was really like a fucking dream, dog. It was really like a dream. That shit was crazy. Feel me? Very exciting, definite polarity. Chitra is argumentative and combative and enjoys in contradicting others and their authority. I learned the gaslight, like my first time with the gaslight, being accused of it, and then also like bearing witness to it was in this relationship. You feel me? Chitra is very, very crafty, very smart. Play, I say they. So the contract, I be like, what are you talking about, right? But Shada does not like to be challenged, especially by their partners, whom they would prefer to take the quieter, more submissive role. But the women of the Tiger Yoni are not so demure. The dynamic is still very exciting. Yeah, I see, I get that too, because yeah, Shada, I don't really be trying to argue. Um, I ended up learning, and it almost feel a little diabolical, but I got this from some the Native American Blackfoot tales, and it was like the old man, the old woman, and he let her have the last word in that jump, and it was like in the next relationship, I know I was burnt out from this one. I'm like, what the fuck is all this arguing about? You learn, okay, you can have the last word, and instead of saying, because sometimes ego get in and be like, they'll say their piece, and then you be like, okay, but no, you said they get the last word. When you really mean that, they say their piece. That's what it is. Now we both gonna have to just deal with whatever that was. All right, we'll do it your way, but it ain't. You know what I'm saying? Then you see, it ain't working now, is it? So yeah. So look. So then the Nakshatra study. I ain't gonna bet it was awesome though, cause real spill. Like before that, bro, you talk about projections and all of that and wounds. It was like it opened something up in me. I was like, what the fuck? Cause I'd be lying to you if if I ain't. You feel me? That was one of them times where you get scared. And I ain't gonna say you. I ain't gonna project on y'all. But nigga, I was scared. I'm like, ooh, I love you. And I noticed we both knew it was kind of like gonna be short lived and shit. I wasn't prepared for the fallout because that shit was kind of like blissful. I ain't gonna back. We was in New York. I don't really care for New York too much, but it was like me and her. That shit was random as a fuck. I was at home thinking about going to see my sister in South Carolina, and it was like I don't know. My peoples was on some old just I don't know. They had this thing that they do, and I'd be like, this ain't. I don't even know. I ain't a kid, right? I'm about to get you good, but just don't take it personal. And ended up going the opposite direction in New York. We was there, motherfucking like real kind of living there. It almost felt like a while we was up that jump. You feel me? And then like to the point where it's like, let's go get something to eat. Let's go get some groceries and shit like that. In that jump, we watching TV. We got in a bed. That shit, we got a little view and shit. It was like, what the fuck? She showed me some shit. I'm forever grateful. I ain't gonna back. Cause if not, I ain't gonna bullshit you. If not for that experience, I don't know. I ain't gonna say sorry, but yeah. Like even in terms of oh my gosh, I don't even want to speak on that. Yeah. But the tigress is known for strong and ferocious sex. But initially, the tigress takes ages to get into high libido. Some by 24 years, others do so by 32. After that, sex never falls to sex performance on each occasion extend to more than an hour for a number of days. A lot of purring but little talking during copulation will be found. If the male is satisfied, then the tigress responds. If not, she goes in search for another satisfying partner. Body elements is fire. A person born in this class is of independent nature, efficient in accumulating wealth, receptor of virtuous preaching, and is full of self-praise. What can I say? When we had sex, I don't know if it did extend for a long ass time. I think so. Yeah, kinda sorta. But I don't know. There was one time, first time. Oh gosh, I hope that nobody. Yeah, my shit kind of like alias, but this ain't too much. It almost seemed like she wanted to fight me after the first time, and then with the next woman I was with, she kind of felt the same way, but she really kind of went somewhere else, and I ain't really fuck with that. But this one was like, her fist was balled up tight as hell, like, not really sure I like how I feel about you right now. I said, what the fuck is going on? You thinking it's cute at the time, but then you like, what the fuck was that later on? So I don't know if she was satisfied. I would say so. I ain't gonna cap because the only time I ever heard about her, it should be kind of like open. I don't be sweat. I don't have a jealous spirit, and I kind of like, you just gotta know how the game goes. So like on the times where we wasn't, maybe we not necessarily on the outs, but if we ain't talking or had an argument, and I just wasn't trying to hear that shit. Yeah, she kind of pop up. She'll call you and then she'll be with a motherfucker. Like I guess some little homegirl she was with and shit. I'm like, okay, you don't. I don't really pay that shit no mind. But I noticed that, and another time too. Body elements: fire and Ayurveda. I gotta pull that up because I ain't gonna lie, I'd be babbing if I told you I remember. But I know fire is described as being hot, light, penetrating, and sharp. So it's kind of, we could just call it fierce. You feel me? So they sharp, intelligent. Fire is regarded as being a bit more on the religious, spiritual side. I don't like none of y'all words for sharp. Yeah. So hot tempered, hot blooded, penetrating, sharp, focus, feel me? And then bring it bite. Monkey Yoni is mine's, right? This type of Yoni, this where the some of the strife came from, because on a real, I guess you would call that primal level or something. Monkey Yoni wants to be the dominant partner, otherwise the whole hell will break loose. Monkey needs a lot of pleading by the male for sex, lots of gifts and favors, not to mention praise. They say Monkey needs a lot of pleading by the male for sex. This is a general joke. Monkey needs care and caressing more than any other type of Yoni. Generally, the sex acts will be shorter but much happier for both. Yeah, I don't know. Because they speaking from the perspective of the woman with the monkey Yoni. So body elements is fire and spirit. So hot, light, penetrating, sharp. But then spirit is ether. It is empty. It is subtle. You can't see it. Not quite distinguishable. Let's find that. I ain't gonna cap. Mobile, dry, light, cold, rough, and subtle. Hold on, I gotta make sure that might be air. Yeah, that's air. So yeah, ether is empty, clear, light, soft, and immeasurable. So I kind of am just learning this now, and I was like, whoa. So that made Monkey only kind of has more of a, it's not to say a spiritual implications in relationships, but it is to say that they a little bit more might let things come to them instead of like being aggressive and after things. It's like, yeah, there's some aggression there, but it's like, are you the, you know what I'm saying? You one of the ones I'm supposed to be with? Like, what is the spiritual yoke between this? You know what I'm saying? Lusty, has good obedient children. Person this class is of restless nature, loves sweetmeats, quarrelsome, lusty, and has good obedient children. I can see that. I ain't gonna cap. But that joint was so fucking intense. It was like, but look, this the cue. Monkey Yoni, Tiger Yoni might be like most other animal yonis view the tiger yoni and the big cat yonis, tiger and lion, as they view them as enemies because it's like it's a tiger and a lion, bro. They don't eat grass, they don't eat fruit. That motherfucker gonna try to eat me. And if you notice, whether or not you know this thing anyway, that's kind of how I was feeling. I remember one time I was like, I had a dream, I had to stab you. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did it go there? Now, Tiger Yoni, Lion Yoni are very visceral. They need like a lot of stimulation in order to get them going. They damn near gotta hate you. If they hate you, it might be a good thing. It means that they're attracted to you. If they wanna fucking hurt you, they're attracted to you. You had sex with them and then they wanna fight you afterwards. I guess hey, I'm really attracted to you. And I don't like how I feel about you. Why? Because I hate you and I love it. Like, damn. Now here's the kill. That's really how it be. That's really how they are. That's how a lot of everybody is, for real, for real. And my monkey yoni is sandwiched between a tiger yoni and a lion yoni. So it's like I don't be worried about it. I be kind of like giggling about that shit. But I do know, hey, look, don't do that. So it say limited sexual interest and low compatibility, and it was just too intense, too fast. It's a Mars Venus type of thing, and Venus rules over Mars star destruction and challenge and association. So it just kind of don't work out, but it work out. It's just not what you think it's supposed to be. It ain't gonna be conventional. It might not be long lasting. No cap. And then the fallout, it don't even matter if it's Chitra Purvashad, if it's Chitra and Barani, if it's Chitra and Purva Falguni. Mars Venus contacts gonna have issues. Mars and Mars contacts, they don't always get along that much. But hey, look, using myself as an example, it be like that sometimes. We don't be knowing no better. But where I am currently, like, I did research. It's like, nah, I done peeped some things. So, thank you. Now I gotta let that ride out.